Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the virtual WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for today's race for the Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside me is my producer for today in Sawa for what should be a thrilling season finale at this 2.24-mile circuit. These drivers getting all set for what should be a great finale for this campaign. First things first, Volkswagen Motorsport launched the Pole Cup in 2010, marking their entrance in Indian motorsport. The aim was to provide a platform for young drivers in professional racing and display their skills on the national level. Since then, they have produced many race drivers who have progressed to race internationally. The organization continues to groom budding racing talent into world-class drivers and recently won the Indian Touring Car Championship. After the pole, they have had the Veto Cup, then the Emilio Cup, and now they'll be going back to the polls for next season. These drivers today, meanwhile in the Indian Sim Racing League, look to battle for their own championship today. The championship picture entering today sees the man on screen now, Sai Petri, coming into today as the points leader with 204 points. Right behind him with 186 is Abdul Fattah, who will be trying to keep up with him and try and hope there's a chance he can take over the championship lead by the end of today's 20-minute race. Third in the point standings, Abdul Azim enters today with 143 points, trying to fight with Ryden Summerwell for the fourth position on the pylon as well. Rounding up the top five in the point standings for today's championship final battle is Ahmed Qt for what should be an entertaining final race of season number 2. Now for these drivers today, qualifying 10 minutes of solo qualifying, 4 total laps to set their fastest way around the racetrack. It's a tough circuit, mind you, with tons of elevation changes across this 2.238-mile circuit, 11 turns, including some of the most challenging corners in all of sim racing, including the corkscrew, which sees a vicious drop that ends up going to a blind quarter with a violent amount of elevation change for today's action. Following along right now with Ryden Summerwell as he tries to get his way around the racetrack. Many different competitors are either on their first laps or their warm-up laps at the moment. As you can see right now with Summerwell as he comes across the stripe of 119, gets him onto the board as the first driver put in a qualifying time. Now keep in mind the top drivers in practice recorded 116.5s, with both the 117.7s amongst the top 10 on the board. On board with the 64 machine as he tries to ride his way through sector number 1 into sector number 2, heading off into turn number 5. Now Summerwell having a strong campaign. 33 points was earned for him in the last race. For him, the campaign on the schedule of that race coming at Daytona's road course. To the corkscrew comes Summerwell this time, trying to get himself the tide apex. Hits the brakes, turns his way down the corkscrew. Good way down the corkscrew this time for Q Session. Has already been bumped down to 3rd position on the qualifying pylon, though. Up at the top of the board now is Reghab Bajiwaja. I apologize there. Just been bumped off, though, by your championship leader in Petrie with a 117.489 in qualifying. Summerwell, meanwhile, the speeds have picked up. Here's a look, though, at your points leader. He's competed in various different races across India at the intercollegiate level. He's looking to try and come away with the championship today. In preparation for this race, a few different testing races for these competitors today. Had at one point yesterday in the test race an 8-second advantage, put in 54 laps of practice alone. Compare that to some of the others. Lots of work was put in this morning, this afternoon, and this evening for these drivers for this championship bout. Badiraja once again on the screen, trying to come around underneath the Bosch Bridge at the moment. back into turn number 5 once more. Currently trying to close up about a 1-second gap from the top of the pylon to where he's at in qualifying. Has about 4 minutes and 30 seconds to set his best qualifying time in this session. Many others also still trying to record their first lap. For those watching for the first time on an iRacing event, if you have an off-track at any point during your qualifying session, your time would be voided. In turn, that means you would have to go around once more to try and set another qualifying lap. They do have the luxury of 4 solo qualifying lap attempts in sequence to try and put in the best attempts. And the cars have been getting faster and faster with each and every lap as the tires have built up their heat. Taking a look right now at the 5th place car on the pylon at the moment. This is Fatah, who is second in the point standings. Trying to close up at the top of the pylon as the times continue to cycle on through. A 1:18.155. Last time by, his fastest tap was a 1:18.154. Can he bump his way up the pylon? A 1:17.5 gets him up to 3rd. Has one more lap though to get around the racetrack. Currently, the man on top of the board though is this driver. Emmett Kuti trying to get himself the pole for today's race. Has it by 8/1000ths of a second. And makes a major mistake out of the corkscrew. QT spins around, and his 4th time will not be able to bump him on forward. The pressure's now on, though, for the rest of these drivers to see if they can close up the gap of only 4/10 to P3. This time will be at least a few seconds off of his last time because of that mistake. You can see already in the 124s because of that spin in the corkscrew. Corkscrew described as a drop that is blind, so you have to look forward to the point where there's a tree along that edge of the racetrack to make sure you hit your line correctly for that steep drop. That drop ended up causing a mistake that time. Off track as well for Fatah will mean he will not be able to put in a time. Petri is already done his qualifying. 4th is also done on the board. Most of the other drivers have also completed many of their attempts. Others, such as Rakib, has just finished their attempts. He's in 7th in qualifying with a 1:18.311. In total, 16 drivers have recorded qualifying times so far on the board. Right now, the time's ranging by about 10 total seconds from the top of the pylon to the bottom of the pylon. To the bottom of the pylon, should rather say. Nikhil Reddy is the last of those drivers in qualifying at the moment in 16th. Others are still looking to record their final laps. Taking a look at Kadib right now, making his way around the racetrack. Abdul Kadib trying to get himself as high as he can on the board. In 7th at the moment, has about a minute to record his final time in this qualifying session. These drivers in the Dallara F312 F3 machines. Of course, that's the Formula 3 level of racing for the open wheels. Many of the pro drivers have been racing them across the iRacing service throughout its release in the past couple of years or so on the iRacing service. Fastest lap time for him again is a 1:18 flat. Misses the final apex off turn 11. How will this time shape up? Keep an eye on the bottom ticker. Coming across the stripe. Loses a 10th with that mistake on turn number 11's exit. Not able to improve his time. In total, though, the drivers just about set to go for what should be a thrilling season finale. From WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna, Seca. Qualifying is now officially wrapping up for the Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. Let's take a look at how they will start for today's race. At the top of the pylon, it is QT with the fastest time with a 1:17.194. In second spot, your championship points leader Insai Petri will start in second. Third spot, we'll see Fatah with a 1:17.524. In fourth spot, one of the quickest cars in practice throughout this final session, Baji Raja is in P number 4. Summerwell is in P number 5 with Azim in the 6th position. In 7th, QT, followed by Hadi in P number 8. Then you have Abdul Rakib in P number 9. Rounding up the top 10 starting positions is Atemish Yadri for today's race. Vignesh Karaban is starting in 11th spot. Then the rest of the drivers qualified in the 119s down to the 127s. 21 total drivers expected to make the start for today's standing start. Again, in total, estimated distance about 15.9 laps, give or take, depending on how the race cycles through in these 20 minutes. Who will come away with the victory today? We're about 30 seconds from finding out. Once again, 11 turns across this racetrack with a lot of elevation changes for these cars to deal with from start to finish. Most of the drivers have made their way to the grid for the season finale for Season 2 of this series. All drivers getting ready for that tough rush up to the Andretti hairpin. Lights are out, green flags waving. We're underway from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna, Seca. QT with a good launch on the bottom side, tries to ride along the rumble strips in the Andretti hairpin, gets single file. The battle is for second. Petri still fighting with Fatah, able to get himself clear to get up to second. Contact for fourth on behind. Multiple drivers spinning off into the sand. More cars spinning around off the corner, number 3. We stay green as amongst the drivers off into the tire walls, but Driberja off the circuit. Also taking the tow truck is a couple other competitors. A bad start for some drivers, a good start for the top competitors. Up in the front right now is QT, the points leader, trying to chase his way behind in second position. Petri currently separated out by about 0.3 of a second for this opening lap. Then you have QT, who is in the third position. Or check that, should say in the lead in front of Petri. First lap coming to a close. Down the start and finish line at hashtag 2.238. QT with the race lead as he'll try and hold on to now an 0.8 of a second gap. Estimated 15 laps to go throughout these 20 minutes. See how this race fares for many of these competitors. They were warned today to make sure they give space today throughout today's race and be smart with overtakes across this circuit. Of course, the danger zones today, as talked about, the corkscrew, the Rahal straight leading off of turn number 6 especially. Best passing zones today going to be the Andretti hairpin as well as in sections such as turn number 5 today. Summerwell currently in third position, then in the fourth position, Abdul Hadi rounds out the top 5. Currently the gap between these drivers already up to about 5 seconds at least between the drivers at the start of the top 5 to the end of the top 5. In 6th position is Yadri, still trying to find his way on forward, closing up about a second. Speaking of closing up, the lead has closed up and dramatically by 0.3 of a second. Petri is slowly but surely closing in the slipstream. Last time gained 4 total tenths of a second. Much stronger exit through the Andretti hairpin, closes up another 0.5 tenth. Many of the lead cars have pulled their way on forward. Separation amongst the top 10, now 18 seconds. The tree coming back now to the Rahal straight this time. Such a difficult corner with the dip along the rumble strips. Loses a tenth of a second. Back to the corkscrew. This was where QT struggled in qualifying. Had a bobble out of the corkscrew. This time handles it well. Petrie, though, trying to keep inside the slipstream. Coming to 16 minutes to go up on the clock here for the season finale of the Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. Following on board with second place. Again, fastest car on the track by a tenth of a second. Right on the back wing in the battle for the race lead, all while Summerwell trying to keep himself calm and composed. If anything happens amongst those cars, he'd be in the position to jump. He's 3 seconds behind. 3 seconds behind, that is fourth place at the moment, who's running the 1:18.8 with no help of slipstream. 2 seconds behind is Hadi, who is currently rounding out the top 5 positions on the racetrack. Idris still in 6th position as well. He's now in a bit of a fight though, because behind him, Rakib is slowly but surely reeling into his slipstream as the red boxes appear in multiple positions on the racetrack, including this one. Ninth position, makes a major mistake in the Rahal straight, off the track. Jakar off the race circuit. That will move multiple drivers around, including Najib Ahmed up the board. As drivers cycle around and more cars have to go to the tow truck, with an estimated 12 laps to go. The tree losing time this time by, it is QT gaining some ground for the race lead. Should note, in this position at the moment, Petrie is in position to potentially come home with the title. Again, had an advantage with 204 points compared to 186 entering today, compared to Fatah. And Fatah, currently amongst some of those drivers who had trouble in the early going in this race, all the way back in 15th position, a lap down. Back up to the race lead, though, going back in through the corkscrew again. This has now been where QT has been getting more comfortable. Car across the racetrack. Petrie has to get off the gas. That is a Marsheaf that had to come across the racetrack. Closes up the battle for a couple different groupings. Third position's now tight. They get by the lapped car. Fifth position now within range to strike. From all of that madness there, that shuffles around the top 3 positions. Summerwell has now been moved back to 4th position. Big slipstream battle near side by side. Summerwell trying to take the long way around the Andretti hairpin. Hadid trying to send his way into the fight. Forced to let back single file back outside the Andretti hairpin. Coming to 10 laps to go this time by. 3-car scrap now for the 3rd position on the podium. Hadi following along the slipstream in the red and blue machine. Currently half a second behind to the next position up on the racetrack. Yadri also slowly but surely closing on in. Did lose a couple seconds though last time by Chanot. Following on from behind, Hadi. Having to be nice and patient here until they get to the next passing zone. Such a difficult racetrack, and another car coming across the circuit. Hadid darts his way across, misses the traffic, able to avoid it, but Summerwell takes advantage of the slowdown, moves himself back up to 3rd. As that went on, new race leader, Petrie, able to get on by after a major mistake for QT from the race lead after they had to dodge a car in the middle of the racetrack. QT with significant damage, now with a broken left front suspension. Now in major trouble. Now, iRacing instituted a brand new damage model on the service earlier this year for this race car, meaning you can break tire rods, you can break the suspension. QT with the broken left front tire, now after leading the race in major trouble. That moves Somerwell up to second position as a result. Third position right now at the moment features Kadib trying to follow amongst the cars. Hadi currently is in net P4 with all the trouble. And trouble! Hadi spun around in the corkscrew. Top 5 car went around. He's off and away. Still trying to get back off and away. Ended up collecting one other car as well. Still trying to get going in 7. Bad luck for one of the top cars in the race. Rakib now with front wing damage as a result. One other car, and Yadri was able to get through for 4th position. But as all of this has went on, the lead has now grown to more than 9 seconds for Petrie after some of the bad luck for his fellow competitors. Just take a look at how that front visor has been dirtied up as he's run around in this race today. A lot of sand around the edges of the circuit. Hadi and Ahmed have both had to come down to the pit lane and use the fast repair because of some of their damage on the racetrack. Everybody else has cycled on through and spread themselves apart for the final 8 estimated laps to go. Lap traffic is ahead, including Azini, who lets by the race leader in the 14. Somerwell trying to close up the gap and hope for some type of luck, though. Remember, he was in that fight for 3rd position for the championship, just 1 point behind. Well, it seems bad luck today, now in the 10th position. He's in a good position to do so. Idri currently trying to get back towards where some of his battles were, was in range to catch up to some of the cars. Now is 5 seconds behind. Another 8 seconds behind is Rakib. Then, right behind him, though, Jakur is slowly but surely reeling in to the point of a red box. One of the fastest cars on the racetrack last time by gained 5 seconds, in fact. After some of the checkups, good run this time. Jakur to the inside, move him up to the top 5. Wild race so far for the season finale for the Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India today. One of the drivers that we've talked about a little bit is this man, early in the mix of a battle at the moment. This is P8 and 9 that's shuffling around. Ahmed currently in the mix of the fight. Just 13 points rather on the season entering today. In good range to try and recover after the incidents we had seen moments ago to try and get himself back up to 8th position. All while the race leader continues to set the pace up at the front in clean air. Cycling around as the drivers make their way around. Should note, Rakib has had to come down to the pit lane. We mentioned that front wing damage. We've seen it significantly hampering his performance. When Jakur made the pass, he has now come to serve a fast repair and get his car fixed and off and away, while other cars are now in position to even pass him as he comes around this racetrack. Some of the others you're taking a look at are multiple laps down today due to trouble throughout this race, including Dudia, along with this man, one of the top drivers in practice today in Badri Raja. Had been a top 10 starter in the race today, starting at 4 to be precise, then was involved in the incident in turn 3 on the first lap of this race today. Petrie, well control of this race. Pulled another 0.8 of a second last time by. Let's talk a little bit about him, mind you. He's talked about, had some racing experience in many different levels. It's talked about by his Institute of Technology and Science, his University of Precise. He's having strong performances racing on the podium, specifically there. The JK Tire Racing Championship made headlines in that race as well, among some of the top performers amongst that tournament as well, specifically in the College Cup. Been the class of the field today and has pulled another 0.8 of a second alone this lap on Summerwell. Third place car, meanwhile, and Kadur has still kept himself a nice, calm, cool, and collected race. Was among some of the battles, was some of the checkups at some points, but still keeping within range. He's still about a few seconds quicker a lap compared to this battle between fourth position and, should I say, a lap car behind in Yadri. But Petrie coming to the closing stages, as you see on the top ticker, coming to 4 laps to go this time by. Just has to make sure traffic is maintained calm, cool, and collectively and cleanly. Car in front is the 8th man on the leaderboard in this race at the moment. Most traffic has been letting them go cordially with the blue flags today. But that yellow and black machine has been quick from the jump. Second on the starting grid, and now has the advantage of, if he wants to, using some of the slipstream. It looks like we'll try and use that to gain some more time on the racetrack off the lap machine. Lap traffic knocks some cones around. Here he gets a cone stuck in its front wing, but the leader goes on by, moves himself on to lap up to P number 8 now, with 4 to go. All while Summerwell still calmly making his way around the exit of the Andretti hairpin. Currently's a good 4 seconds ahead of the next position on the racetrack right now here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna, Seca. You see and hear some of the precision that has to be taken with these cars. Make sure you have the proper gear at the proper time. Make sure you handle any sort of tire slippage. If you allow the tires to slip too much from the back end, you potentially spin around the race car. Up through the gears once again through the corkscrew. This time, he'll take the 4 to go signal this time by. Gap is now 9.2 seconds. A bit of oversteer that time. Going on the exit of turn 10, back to the turn 11. Have to deal with the same lap traffic we had just seen moments ago for the race leaders. Battle is on, though, for P number 4 on the racetrack, because that's where Yadri just got past, in fact, if we go back towards that direction. You notice on the leaderboard, that was where Yadri and Jakur were running on the track. Yadri, you see there, has left front wing damage that is now affecting his race car. That has lost him 1 position already on the racetrack. The driver taking advantage of some of the drivers with wing damage is Jakur. Now with that wing damage, it is affecting some of the corner speed and the downforce, as we're already seeing here. And it actually has lost him a ton of time just this past quarter lap alone on the car in front. Gap between them is now already grown by more than a second because of the wing damage. Should note the car behind is a lap down. That is Fatah, who has recovered his way up to the top 10. All of that's going on. Shakur continues to run away and hope to not make any mistakes in these final couple laps of this race. While Kadri looks to stay out of trouble with the lap car in Hadi. Looks to try and take advantage and hope he can catch up in time. The downside is 24 seconds is the gap. Final minutes up on the clock at the moment. As you can see, 7 cars on the lead lap for the season finale for the Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India today. Patal, will he try and pass on by the lead car? No. In fact, the cars for position are fairly in decent shape, running in their own cycles and own little bubbles to make it to the checker flag for this final race. Keep an eye on those times on the left side of your screen, though, for the battle for second position. We talked a little bit about some of the drivers reeling in one another, as you can tell on the side pylon. That is a gap that's closing in rapidly for Kadib. Currently, the gap has shuffled between 1 to 2 seconds this lap. But depending on how this goes, he has a chance of attacking Summerall. White flag is down to the racetrack. Final lap from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna, Seca. Cy Petrie, a near picture-perfect race. Had some luck help him to get the race lead, but as soon as he got it, he ran away and then some. Only a half a second of fall off throughout this entire race today. Only a good number of corners away from the championship. An estimated just 2 off tracks this entire race today for Petrie in this championship finale. Final sector this time for Petrie. For the final time, he'll make his way down the front straightaway. It's Cy Petrie. He's the winner of the season finale in the Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India, and comes home with the championship in dominating fashion. Summerwell comes home with second position, able to hold on to the battle and pull actually another 4 seconds to the checker flag, as Abdul Kadib comes home in 4th. Calmly but surely, the biggest mover of the race was Shakur. Jesse Shakur from a plus 13 just outside the podium comes home in 4th. With the broken wing, it is Udry who comes home inside the top 5. Rest of the cars in the lead lap. Hadi coming home in the 6th position. Rakib looking to round out the top 7, about a minute and 12 back of your race victor today. An interesting race today here from the virtual WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, the season finale of the Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsports India. Let's quickly run through your final race results for the final race of the campaign. Petrie comes home with the checker flag by 11.190 seconds, followed by Kadib in the 3rd position. Shakur finished in 4th position from 17th starting position. Yadri rounds out the top 5 today. Hadi comes home in 6th position, then Rakib in the 7th spot. Hyderabad comes home in the 8th position, along with Ahmed in the 9th position. Azim comes home in P number 10. Fatal with the 11th position today from the 3rd place starting position on the grid. Rounding the top 12 was Kashek Mohandraja for today's race. Then Dudia in P number 13. P number 14, a rough one for the 4th place start on one of the quickest cars in practice. Badi Rajaf comes home in 14th spot. 15th position goes to Seas. Had at one point a broken wheel at one point, he noted in Sim today. In 16th position, 10 laps down. He led at one point, broke the left front tire suspension after contact coming out of turn number 11 with a car trying to rejoin the circuit. It is QT that does not come to the checkered flag. One of the newcomers today in Kiran Kurjek comes home in 17th. In 18th position, Nikhil Reddy. 3 other drivers did not make it to the green flag today or take a qualifying lap. In total, 18 drivers took part in today's finale, but in total, it was fun to see how the racing shaped today. Thank you very much for tuning in for today's coverage of the Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. We're glad to have them with us for today's action and to support motorsport on the digital platform. For my director today in Sarah, I'm Justin Prince saying so long, enjoy the rest of your day. Congratulations to your race winner today, and Sai Petri, on your 11-second victory and a dominant performance in the season finale.